Hi everyone. So again, just a little disclaimer, this video is a video of all of the ghost and paranormal stuff that's happened to me. If you don't believe in ghosts, that is 100% okay. Just watch this and think of it as like a scary story time or something, like just fake story off Instagram or something, I don't know. If you do believe in ghosts, then some of you may find this really interesting. You may find it interesting either way, I don't know. I'd just like to say that I do personally believe in ghosts. I'm a very open person, I'm agnostic. I believe in spirits and ghosts and paranormal. I know a lot of people don't, and that's fine, and your opinions are valid, but so is mine. So if you don't believe in these sorts of things and you think I'm making all of this up, don't say anything. You don't have to be rude. You could just say politely that you disagree with what I am saying because of this reason and this reason. I'm happy to have conversations with people. I don't mind, but please don't be disrespectful or rude. That's all I wanted to say. So without further ado, enjoy the video. Happy Halloween! This is the most uncomfortable mask I've ever worn in my entire life, but it did only cost me like $2 and it is just plastic, so I mean, if you look close enough you can see the, taking it off, you can see the staple marks where they thought it would be a wise idea to staple the tag on. So that's better, I can see. I can't stay on the whole video. Happy Halloween, my dudes! Oh my god, and it's Wednesday. Oh my god. Not only is it Happy Halloween, it's Happy Wednesday, my dudes. Yeah. I didn't mean to, but as I was sitting down to film, I realized I'm kind of in costume. I'm a playbill. I couldn't find a shirt to put on this morning, so I put on my Chicago shirt that my friend gave me. She saw the show on Broadway a couple of years ago, and she didn't want the shirt anymore, so she thought I would like it, and she was very correct. So I'm kind of accidentally a playbill. Anyway, so as promised, today I am telling you all of my little ghost stories. I'm gonna start with like the smaller ones first, so everything that probably happened in my last house, and just kind of work my way up. There's a few more interesting ones that I want to leave for last, so let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. So the first thing I'm gonna start with is the house I recently lived in, before the one that I'm currently in now. I've lived in 3 places. I don't think it was haunted, but there was like a little cupboard with things in it that I would generally need a fair amount of the time. And behind it was a hallway, and it didn't matter what time of the day it was, if I had my back facing that hallway, it gave me the creeps. Like, I don't think it was haunted, I just think it was a bit creepy and spooky, and so I thought it was like a little honorable mention that I'd pop in here. But let's start with my old place. So I lived in this one place for literally the majority of my life. I lived there from the time I was born until I was 21 years of age, and it was definitely spooky. Like, the bathroom always used to give me the creeps, and that's where our story begins. So the first thing that I can really remember happening to me is I'd be in the shower and I'd hear someone call out my name all the time, female voice. So I lived with all women, so it was me, my sister, my mum, and my nan. And I would hear I'd hear someone call my name. I'd never know whose name it was. My house was the kitchen, and then there was a door, big heavy door, and then the laundry room, so it had the, you know, washing machine stuff in it, and then the bathroom, which was like the toilet and the shower and stuff. I'd shut both of those doors to have a shower because I like to listen to music in the shower. It's just who I am. So I'd always have like my iPod or something playing music, and probably every like second or third shower I'd hear someone call my name from the living room, and I was like, I'd just like ignore it, and I'd wait till I got out, and I'd wrap my robe and my towel around me, and I'd go out and I'd be like, oh, which one of you wanted me? And they were like, oh, none of us called you. And so at first I was like, that, you know, they're just joking with me. But it happened so many times that I started to think there's no way they're joking. And then that was the first thing. The second thing that happened to me in the shower is I heard a noise once, and I was like, oh, it's just off the song that I'm listening to because it's from a musical, but it wasn't. I went back and listened to the song and the noise wasn't there. That was just another little thing that happened. And the other thing that used to happen to me in that bathroom a lot was I would be in the shower and I would suddenly feel like there was somebody else in the bathroom with me. I'd constantly feel like this other presence in the room with me, and I'd be like, okay, like I get that the toilet's in here, but like, can you wait 10 minutes till I, you know, bathe? And I'd move the curtain aside slightly and there'd be no one else in the bathroom with me. So that was probably one of my first creepy things. The other creepy thing that happened to me once was, like, in the same house, we had these Christmas things. It was Winnie the Pooh and then Eeyore and Tigger, and they'd sit like that, and you would press Winnie the Pooh and he would sing, and then Tigger or Eeyore would sing, and then the other one would sing. But they had like little things on the side so that they knew when the other one went off. And we turned them off, and we were taking the batteries out because we were packing up from Christmas. And I was sitting with my grandmother in the living room watching the television, and they just went off. No one touched them. No one turned them on. They were turned off at the back. Like when I went and checked them after they went off, I checked the back, they were still turned off. Like, I have not trusted them since. I don't like them. I don't want to ever touch them again in my life. Hate them. I hate them. Officially, okay? And I like Winnie the Pooh, but I hate them. The last thing that happened in my house, my old house, and this is the real spooky one, is I was lying in bed. I was about to go to sleep. And I know in my last video I said I was about 13 or 14, but I think it might have been more recently than that. No, I might have been about 16 years old, maybe 17. And I was lying in bed, minding my own business, and I was facing the wall, and there's a very good chance what I experienced was sleep paralysis. My sister has a story about the house, and after she told me her experience, I'm starting to think that maybe what I experienced was not sleep paralysis, but it isn't my story to tell, so I'm not going to tell you what she experienced. She wanted to, she would. When she gets home, I will ask her if she wants to pop in and tell her story. If she doesn't, that's fine. I was lying in bed facing the wall, and I felt somebody sit down on the edge of my bed. Now, I didn't hear anyone come into my room, and the light would have come directly into my room and shone on me, so I would have seen it. I never heard the person leave the room. I just felt them sit on the edge of my bed, and my bed like went down. You know when you sit on a bed and it goes down? That happened. And I figured it might have been my grandmother or something. I don't know why I thought it was my grandmother, but I thought it might have been my grandmother. And I was going to roll over and say like, hey, why, you know, like, why are you in my room? And my body, something in me was like, don't turn around. You can't, don't turn around, just pretend you're asleep. Just do anything, don't look around behind you, don't move, don't breathe too heavy, just pretend like you're not. I don't know why my body did this. I've never experienced it since. I'd never experienced it before then. And then all I knew after that was I didn't feel anything on the bed anymore, and I didn't feel like anyone else was in the room with me anymore. And it was the freaking weirdest thing. And I have no explanation for that. Like I said, maybe sleep paralysis. Haven't had it since. I hope to never, if that's what it was, I hope to never have it again. Yeah, so that was one house. Nothing's ever happened to me at the more recent place I lived that I remember. So let's go on to the theatre. So as you guys know from previous videos, I love musical theatre, and I saw a show, the Theatre Royal in Hobart. It's the longest running theatre in Australia, or the oldest working theatre in Australia, and it is said to have a ghost. There used to be, there isn't now because they're renovating some stuff. There used to be at the back called the Backspace Theatre, and it was just a nice, small, intimate little theatre, maybe 70 or 80 seats, and I went to see a show there. It's very hot. It was such a hot night, and I remember I was sitting here, and my mum was sitting next to me, and there was no one on this side of me. I was by myself, and then there was two people sitting back here, and two people sitting back here. There was no one directly behind me. There was nobody next to me on this side. I was just sitting there watching the show. I was about 10 minutes in, and I just felt something cold touch my shoulder. I don't know. I was like, oh, someone's just touched me, and I turned around. Nobody behind me would have done it because I didn't know the people sitting behind me, and that would be very weird. And also, if you were going to touch somebody's shoulder, I would assume it's because they've got a spider on them or something, but I assume you'd also lean forward and go, hey, just so you're aware, I'm about to touch your shoulder, you've got a spider on you. You know, you'd expect some sort of like something, but I just felt a hand, and three of these stories are gonna make me sound a little nuts. This is one of them, and I just want you to be aware of that. I believe that whatever it was that touched my shoulder that night was a fist, like a balled up fist, because I can just feel that that's what it is. I know that doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense to me either, but that's, when I think about what happened, I can almost vision in my head, like I'd be reading, you know, like when you read and you see things in your head, I can almost vision this fist swiping across my back. Like, it was kind of a weird motion too. It was going from like that, so Again, I don't know what it was or who it was. It was very creepy though. So yeah, that's what happened at the theater once. It was really weird. Let's talk about acting. So, this is the second story that's going to make me sound a little bit crazy. I do acting once a week, but where we are is a really old building. We were doing Shakespeare. Now, if you don't know, Shakespeare's play Macbeth is said to be cursed. So, there have been all these different stories about people having heart attacks or things going wrong during the show because the show is cursed. So if you are inside of a theater and you say Macbeth, you're meant to go outside and do all this like weird stuff, like spin around, spit over your shoulder or something. Like there's like a thing that you're meant to do to cleanse yourself of saying Macbeth in the theater, or you'll probably mostly all know it from Harry Potter, but the double toil and trouble. So don't quote that in a theater, just don't be that person. But we sat down one night to look at some monologues from Shakespeare, and we looked at two. We looked at one from Hamlet, the to be or not to be soliloquy, and then we looked at a Lady Macbeth one. And it wasn't the double toil and trouble, it wasn't anything like that, it was just really cool monologue from Lady Macbeth. And it was the first night we did it, and I think all of these things happened in the same time, but I want to tell you this one first. We were sitting in kind of a circle-y shape, and there's a front door, and then there's a door down the back because the place can be used as for functions and stuff, like weddings and stuff. So there's a door that leads down to some bathrooms and a kitchen, and the back door, and I was facing that door, and I have never had an issue with this place. I'd never had anything creepy happen to me. And then that night that we were reading about Macbeth, I saw behind my acting teacher's head a shadow run past the door, which you wouldn't think much of. But the same thing happened when I was up at the theater and I felt the hand on my back. I thought about what I saw, and in my brain, I know I can, like the reading thing, I can imagine that it was a small boy wearing short, kind of like old-fashioned, like Oliver Twist, Gavroche kind of looking thing, like a little kid. And then the next lesson, I was reading the front of the building. It had like a little information sheet about it, and it said that the building, which I didn't realize was there, it's part of a tour. I think it might be part of like a historic tour or something, or part of the ghost tour that's down there. So you probably, if you live in Tasmania, you probably know where I go to act. Please don't stalk me. And it said something about like each of the places on the tour, like what they were and why they're included in the historic tour or whatever. And for the hall where I act, it said that at one point before becoming a community center it used to be a Sunday school back in the 1800s before the war and stuff, and it would always have like young children running around inside, and it was a Sunday school for a very long time, so the outfit that I thought the kid was in would match the year that the building was used as a Sunday school. And I know that probably sounds like I made that up, like I saw the sign and was like, oh my god, that's what it is, but I can promise you I wouldn't make up stuff like this. Nothing bugs me more than when you watch someone's ghost stories and they're like, yeah, look at this ghost, and it's literally just someone being like, ooh, look, it's a ghost, but it's like so fake. So that was creepy. The door to the back of the building where the kitchen is, it opens, here's the hall, it opens into the hallway. In front of it, there is nothing. It's just a like empty space and then a wall, because that's where we learn, that's where we've been acting. And there's no draft coming through anywhere. It's nice and cozy and warm in there because the heaters are on. And there's a door out the back that leads into the outside, and the door was kind of half open, half closed. And then the next thing we all know is the door just swings back and hits the wall. None of us touched it. There's no draft coming through. If there was a draft coming from the back of the building, there's no way it could have opened the door. It would have closed the door, but it opened further. None of us know what happened. All of us were a bit like, oh, that's weird. I'm sitting there like, this is creepy because I've just seen the shadow of a kid run past. I didn't like that at all. And we haven't done Macbeth in 3 months maybe. Nothing's happened. So if I didn't believe it before, I do now. Currently where I live, very old building. Couple of nights after I moved in, I heard this very light on my bedroom door. Come in, nothing. So I try again. Hello? Nothing. So I get up, go and open the door. Nobody's there. And I go into my sister's room and say, hey, did you just knock on my door? And she goes, no. I asked my housemate, my other housemate, hey, did you knock on my door? She said, no. I was like, did someone knock on your door just now? She goes, no. There's only one other housemate that we have. And obviously, if no one was outside my door, no one wanted me. He didn't knock on mine. He didn't knock on anyone else's. And none of us had knocked on his door. So Don't know who knocked on my door. Somebody did. And then a few days later, I walked out into the hallway and I heard something, like footsteps. I was like, oh, it's just me. So I stopped walking and I continued to hear someone at the other end of the building walking. No. That's happened a few times. I've heard people walking up and down my hallway a few times while I've been in it, which is annoying and creepy. The other night, I have a little cauldron trick-or-treat bucket, and I heard what I can only describe as the sound of someone lifting the handle up and down really fast. That's the only thing I can describe it as. And I got that feeling in my chest again that I had to leave the room. So, fun thing about me is sometimes when something spooky happens, or there's a noise and I'm not sure if it's spooky or not, I will feel my chest will like tighten and I will need to leave the room. Not because I'm scared and not because I think that the energy is negative or whatever, but because I'm like, I'm not alone in here, I need to leave. It doesn't happen if I'm with anyone else. It depends what happens. It will happen or not. But most of the time if I'm by myself, I'll feel this sudden urge to have to like leave. So literally 2 nights ago I heard the bucket thing happen and I got that feeling of needing to leave, so I left. I heard somebody in the kitchen the other day washing up. There was nobody else in the kitchen. I was the only person home. My bed used to be against the wall that is outside in the bedroom. The front door's like right next to my bedroom. I hear everybody come in and out, doesn't matter what time of the day it is. And my sister went out, my other housemate went out, and then I heard my third housemate, let's call them Halloumi and Sushi. I know Heather and Halloumi went out, and I had not seen Sushi all day, so I assumed he was out, and I was like, okay, that's fine. And then I heard somebody in the hallway, I heard them walking around the house, you know, figured Sushi was home, cool. And then I'm in the kitchen with my sister and Halloumi, we're all having just a little chat, and then I hear the front door open, I hear Sushi come in, go into his room, and then go outside, and I was like, oh yeah, sure, cool, whatever. And then Halloumi goes, oh, maybe we should be quiet just in case, you know, Sushi's trying to sleep. And I was like, oh no, Sushi just came home, like they just walked through the door. And then I went, hang on, we've only been sitting in the kitchen talking for 5 minutes. In those 5 minutes, nobody left Sushi's room. Sushi came home. Then who was it that I heard walking around in my house an hour ago when I thought Sushi was home? So Sushi hadn't been home like all day, and I just thought that they had been walking around and in the kitchen and stuff all day. More recently, this is one of my favorite stories. Heather and I were sitting in the kitchen and we're talking, both kind of scrolling through Instagram and stuff, and then I look over behind her because something caught, I was like, something's wrong. I look over and the swing top lid of our bin was just going for it, like someone had just like hit it, and I just, nope, I was out, I left the room. So I'm like freaking out a little bit, and Heather's like, well, maybe, you know, something hit it, and I was like, who? We're the only 2 people in here, we're sitting in front of each other. And then I was talking to my mum, she's like, well, maybe you have a mouse in the house, and I was like, we would have heard it jump in, there's nothing in the bin, we only just emptied it, like it would have just hit the bottom and we would hear it trying to get back out. And I looked in the bin and there was nothing in there except for like maybe a wrapper. I don't know why it started moving, I don't know who touched it, why it was swinging. I can only assume that it's the same thing that I keep hearing around my house, who I think is an old man. Again, don't know how I know that, I feel it. I feel like it's right that it's an old man. I've just kind of accepted those noises now, like they happen and whatever, like I'm fine. And now my favorite stories. I work once a week at this place. I'm not going to say what it is, but there is the ghost of a little girl there, and I'm not the only person who has felt her presence. Some of the people who have been there have said that they've seen her. Like actually seen her. We all know that she's friendly, so that's fine. I honestly don't mind. I didn't realize there was a ghost until one day I was doing something in a room by myself and I felt someone very lightly tug my hair. Now my hair was up in a high ponytail, and it was a bit shorter than it is now. I think it was cut to about here. So it wasn't getting stuck in my badge, it wasn't getting stuck in my collar. It felt distinctly like a tug, and it happened. I thought, oh, my friend's back in the room. I turn around, I'm the only one in the room. And I was like, oh, it's fine, I'm just gonna ignore it. And I went, no, I can't, I need to leave. And I left the room, and I found my friend, I was like, oh my God. And then I went downstairs and I told my boss what happened. She was like, oh yeah, people have seen her. And I was like, wait, what? So since then, little ghost girl, sometimes when I go, there's 2 places I know that she is a lot. So when I go into those 2 places, I will sometimes very quietly go, hi. I've told her once or twice if she'd like to do anything, she's allowed to, but she's not allowed to pull my hair again because that was a bit creepy. I think it was about a week after I said that, I was working with someone and there were 2 sets of keys to lock the door. One of them didn't have a key on it to lock it. Mine did. So I went over and I locked the door. The way I do it, I hold the handle, put the key in the lock, twist it to lock it, wiggle the handle, make sure it's locked, remove the key, leave. When I open a door, I put the key in the door, I hold the handle, put the key in, turn it to unlock it, whomp, like that. So it's just like one swift movement, because I've normally got something heavy with me. Anyway, I locked the door, wiggled the handle, it was locked. Cool. We head off back down to the boss, go have morning tea with them, and I'm on my way back down when I realize I've forgotten something in the room. So I'm like, oh, you keep going, I'll be back in a second. So I go back to the room, I put the key in the lock, put my hand on the door handle, and the door just opens. And I was like, oh, maybe I just, you know, I didn't lock it quite properly, and I was just imagining it. So I went in, I opened the door really far because I didn't want to have to bother turning the light on because I was in there for 2 seconds. So I opened the door really far, went to grab what I left in there. I thought to myself, wow, these rooms are actually really creepy when the light's turned off. Like, they're really spooky because there's like no natural light at all. And as the door kind of shut just as I got to it, so I opened it, shut the door, put my key in the lock, put my hand on the door handle, and turned the key to lock the door. It wouldn't move. So I was like, that's weird. I tried the handle, the door was already locked. There is only one door in that building that I will lock behind me, and that is the room to the staff area where I put my handbag. And I only lock that one behind me because there is a lock on the inside of the door that I can flick up. That's the only one I lock behind me when I go in or out of that room. So the door locked and unlocked itself. I took a Snapchat once and it picked up a face behind me. There was no one behind me. But the most recent thing that happened at the place with the little girl ghost is my boss from there, she was leaving. We have a new boss now, and I went in to say goodbye to her, give her a farewell gift and stuff, and we're all standing in the little staff area like, who's got the presents, who's got the card? And I have my hair up because I'm about to go to my paid job, and we're all talking, and I'm standing in front of a wall. There is nobody behind me. I was behind everybody else talking, and there was nothing behind me, and I felt someone literally, my hair was in a ponytail, so just imagine it's in a ponytail. I felt somebody lift my hair and do that. I don't have any other way of describing it but someone picking up my hair and moving it. And that instant feeling of that there was somebody behind me who touched me, instantly in my chest I felt it. I sat down, everyone was like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, someone just touched my hair. There's obviously no one behind me because if there was I'd just be like, why did you touch my hair? And everyone was like, yeah, it's just her. It's just the little girl. No big deal. And I was like, yeah, I know, but like, I think that's all of my ghost stories. They're not particularly interesting stories necessarily. I think they are. They're not very long stories. So, she came home. This is my sibling. This is Heather. Hello. You've seen her before in my 24-hour readathon vlog. Say hello.
Hello, viewers.
Heather here. It's night time. She came home from work because she's a working woman, and now she is going to tell you her spooky ghost experience to do with the bathroom that I told you about in the beginning of the video. Care to share?
We were just about to move out. I was having a shower, as you do when you have to go to uni, work. I don't remember. I don't know how to explain it.
How you did to me. I told these guys that I saw a hand, and I know that the ghost here is an old man because I just know. Like, I just know. Yeah, she also thinks there's a kid.
The one in my room is a kid.
So there's two. There's one that lives in the house, in the general kitchen hallway area, and then there's one in her room.
So I'm in the shower, and I suddenly feel, I don't know.
Not alone?
Not alone, yeah, and then I don't have like an out of body experience. I'm still in my body. I know I'm in my body, if that makes sense, but like
I don't know why you're looking at me.
Because I'm awkward.
Have you watched any of my videos?
Unfortunately, all of them. I was just kind of standing there, and I felt I could see things happening, but
Sorry, it was annoying me. Keep going.
I was standing and I could feel and I could see myself opening well, not really feel, I could see myself opening the shower curtain, but I felt like I felt heavy, like I was just standing still, and like my body was weighted down. But I saw myself open the curtain, even though I hadn't moved, because my arm I could feel was against my side. And on the toilet, because our toilet was in a there was a woman in a long, it would have been white at some point, it's now grey, dress, kind of tattered, sitting on the toilet, long black wet hair, just stared at me for a couple seconds, and I snapped back too.
Kind of like sleep paralysis but without the sleeping.
Yeah.
That's what mine, when I felt someone sit on the side of my bed, felt like.
But I didn't feel scared.
See, that's the thing. Nothing that's ever happened to me I've ever felt scared. So when people are like, I feel a dark energy, I'm like, I don't know what that feels like.
She didn't, like, she was there, and I think she just wanted me to know she was there.
Yeah.
I think it was her way of saying, I know you're leaving. Thank you for not
getting a Ouija
throwing
board out
holy water on the house and saging the place. Like,
yeah.
Thanks for being chill.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my ghost story.
Your only ghost story?
No.
Do you want to tell your others or no?
Well, there was one time where I was trying to take a photo of some lights in my room because I like fairy light. And I was trying to take a photo of this light and my foot got in the photo, which I couldn't tell because it was dark and I didn't have flash on because that would be stupid. And when the photo appeared on my phone, there was an orb on my foot. And also the clock. The clock was the best one. So I have this little clock I got for Christmas.
Sorry, I forgot he lights up. Now I want him in the back. Oh, he's really going for it.
So this clock, just like a little one, like that big, sits on my mantle. And I had a friend stay over, and she was staying over at the time.
I wasn't living here.
Didn't live here at the time. And, you good?
Yeah, keep talking. Keep talking.
And the ticking is really loud in this clock, so
It's a mother effer.
it's a mother forker.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I took the battery out so it would stop ticking, but it's really tough to push the battery in, so I just kind of left it sitting on top because I didn't want to lose the battery, and also there's no way it could like slip back in and start ticking again. We woke up, went out the next morning, I came home, got ready for work, went back out again, and when I came home at 9:30, 10 o'clock-ish, I was like, no, I'm not dealing with setting this clock on the right time. I have a headache, I'm tired, I've had a long couple days. I'm going to bed. I woke up the next morning to ticking. Clock was on the right time with the battery back in. I think it's a kid in my room though, because things have happened before.
The reason...
Like just things have moved or fallen over when they shouldn't, and I've actually, one time I was lying in bed and some books fell over that shouldn't have fallen over.
Oh my god, yeah, my books fell over. In my video, you guys remember in, which video was it? I don't remember, but I'll insert the clip here. My books, they were leaning this way and then they kind of just go, whoop, whoop. It was really good.
Yeah, they stop.
Yeah, they stop falling, and the way they were leaning this way, and then they just kind of go, but they kind of, it's really weird. Like, they can't,
really
but like,
weird.
they can't be leaning that way and then fall that way. They need something to like, push them to go that way. That's my sister. Anyway, bye.
Goodbye.
Those are my ghost stories. That's everything that's happened. I do all the time, if something happens to me, I will update everyone on my Instagram story, so you should definitely follow me on Instagram. Definitely follow me on Twitter because I like to tweet people. My links are down in the description bar below. I hope you all have the most amazing day. I hope you all have a wonderfully spooky Halloween evening, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye. Pumpkin's gone. Yeet, as the kids say. Speaking of housemates, Sushi just came home, gave me a heart attack. Say hi, Kristen. Hi, Kristen. Hi, Kristen.